Hello. What we see here are four major incidents we're probably all very familiar with. And what happened was very few people, if any, spoke up about the concerns that led up to these incidents happening. And if they did, they weren't listened to. And had they been, perhaps the incidents could have been averted or certainly their impact been reduced. So how can we manage and avoid risk if we dare not speak up or are ignored if we do? The ability to challenge, to dissent, and be contrarian is a rarity in today's world of faux harmony, cultures of fear, and fragile egos. Welcome to The Lost Art of Contradiction, the missing piece in quality decision-making. My name is Marcus Dimbleby. It's great to be here with you on Risk Awareness Week, and thank you for Alex for the invitation to come along and present. So my background, quite a checkered past, 20 plus years in the Royal Air Force with multiple mixed tours. One of the highlights of that was serving with the US Marine Corps in Arizona, USA. Following that, I went into consultancy, working with government, large financial services in the oil and gas sector, before meeting the author of Red Teaming, Bryce Hoffman, and partnering up with him 3 years ago within Red Team Thinking. Now, within Red Team Thinking, we have quite a agnostic spread of clients, if you see here, which basically means what we do is applicable to anybody because we're focused purely on enabling people to do great things. So, session outline today, lots to fit in the next hour. We're going to look at the state of play today. We're going to look at why do we need conflict and how do we enable it? And how do we do that? Well, that's going to be through some mindset shifts, some tools and techniques I'm going to teach you. Then we'll consider next steps to how you can take this forward for impact. I just want to start with the scale of the challenge we're facing today now. This great quote. Now, it's moving too fast. It is revolution, not evolution. And there are many accelerations at once. One of the biggest problems is the difficulty of mankind to cope with it. I don't know whether political leaders or business leaders can easily handle it. And that was by Ian Conn, CEO of Centrica, which was a big British gas utilities in the UK, said over 4.5 years ago, so pre-COVID. And what he was almost forecasting here was how the change of pace in the world was really so vast, so quick, so expansive. It was too much for an individual CEO to cope with, and more often than not, too much for an individual board or executive C-suite to deal with. We have to use the wisdom of the crowd and source the knowledge from our people. And the new landscape we're facing today really is what's called VUCA, which is now our new normal. People asking, when are we going to revert back to normal? Well, we're not. VUCA is the new normal. This is a term, if you've not heard of it, came from the actual military war college in the US in the 80s. And it stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Then added to that lately is hyperconnectivity, because we're seeing now that our actions are quickly relayed across the globe in seconds through social media, through the interlinks that we have globally. Incidents or events that happen on the other side of the globe are impacting us. Nothing more so proven than that in the last 12 months, where we've seen actual geopolitical events now coming into our homes and having an impact on our family lives. But also consider this. Why do businesses fail? We call this businesses dying from self-inflicted wounds, because despite this external VUCA environment going on, most businesses fail due to internal problems. Their own red tape, their own bureaucracy. This list here, and there's many more on there, are all internal. So how do we become less risk averse? How do we improve leadership? How do we make better decisions faster? Because if we don't, especially in the VUCA world, we're going to become more susceptible to failure. So that's where we're at today with the landscape of what's going on. So why do we need to have conflict? And how do we enable that? Conflict in the world today, people don't like conflict. They shy away from the word. But in business, what we're talking about here is having healthy conflict, good discourse and challenge. And we need it. If we don't, we're going to become stale and we're going to get hit by threats we don't see coming. This great quote here from John Dewey talking about conflict being the gadfly of thought. Gadflies are those horrible horseflies that fly around and rip your flesh out should they get close. And the whole purpose of that is to stir us into observation, as he says here. And really, we're looking at instigating invention, innovation. And I love this phrase, shocking us out of sheep-like passivity. So often in organizations, we see sheep-like passivity, groupthink, everybody thinking alike just to get along and not rock the boat.